Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Syndicate. I'm Sofia from Sabah, Malaysia.
And I'm James from the great state of Texas. Sophia, I've got to say, every time you mention Malaysia, it makes me want to stay longer. But speaking of introductions,
Perfect segue. Today we're diving into something that makes so many English learners nervous, self-introductions. You know that moment when someone says, "Tell me about yourself," and your mind just goes blank?
oh man, yes, even native speakers struggle with this. We're going to break it down into two main scenarios. Casual situations like meeting friends at a barbecue, and formal situations like job interviews or business meetings.
Exactly. And James, with your finance background and my engineering career, we've both experienced the full spectrum. But here's what I've noticed with my English students. They often use the same introduction everywhere.
Right, like introducing themselves at a party the same way they would in a boardroom. That's a recipe for awkwardness. Let's start with informal situations, because honestly, I think these are trickier.
Really? Why do you think that?
Well, in formal settings, there's usually a clear structure, right? People expect certain information. But in casual settings, you need to be more personable. People want to know if you're someone they'd enjoy hanging out with.
That makes total sense. So let's paint a picture. You're at a weekend hiking group meetup. James, how would you introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'd probably say, hey y'all, I'm James. I just moved here from Texas. Yeah, I know, the accent gives it away. I'm trying to explore all the trails in the area. Back home, I was more into mountain biking, but I'm loving the hiking scene here. What about you folks? Any favorite trails I should check out?
Perfect. Notice what James did there. He mentioned where he's from, connected it to the activity, shared a related hobby, and ended with a question. That's the magic formula.
Exactly. And I threw in that y'all because that's authentically me. Being genuine is key. Sophia, same scenario. What's your approach?
Right. So I'd say, "Hi everyone, I'm Sophia, born and raised in Malaysia to a native Sabahan mother and a Swedish dad. I'm an electrical engineer by day, but weekends you'll find me either at the gym or exploring nature. I have to admit though, I'm a bit paranoid about safety, so I always research trails obsessively before going anywhere new. How long have you all been hiking together?"
I love that. You shared something personal, your safety concerns, but in a light, relatable way. That's so much better than just rattling off facts about yourself.
Right. And here's a tip for our listeners. If you're from somewhere interesting, don't just say the country. I could say I'm from Malaysia, but born and raised here in Malaysia gives people something to ask about. It's a conversation starter.
Absolutely. What other key elements should people remember for casual introductions?
Keep it short, maximum 30 seconds. Share one or two interests that relate to the situation, and always end with a question to show you're interested in others, not just talking about yourself.
Great framework. And here's what not to do. Don't launch into your life story. Don't brag about achievements unless they're super relevant. And please don't make it all about work unless someone specifically asks.
So true. I learned this the hard way early in my career. I'd mention my engineering degree at every social gathering. People's eyes would just glaze over.
I can imagine. Yeah, save the credentials for when they actually matter. Speaking of which, let's talk formal introductions. This is where my finance background comes in handy.
Perfect transition. Okay, formal situations. Completely different game. What's your approach, James?
For formal introductions, I follow what I call the three W's: who you are professionally, what you bring to the table, and why you're there. Let me give you an example from my finance days.
I like that framework. Go ahead.
So I'd say, I'm James Dunn, a senior financial analyst with 6 years of experience in risk assessments and market research. I have a bachelor's in finance and economics, plus specialized training in Bloomberg terminal systems. I'm here because I'm passionate about helping companies make data-driven financial decisions, and I believe my analytical skills would add significant value to your team.
Excellent. You hit all three W's perfectly. And notice the length. That was about 25 seconds. Long enough to show substance, short enough to keep attention. My turn.
Yeah, let's hear your professional intro, Sophia.
I'm Sofia Londo, an electrical engineer specializing in telecommunications and electronic systems. I have 5 years of experience working on infrastructure projects across Southeast Asia, including 5G network implementations. I'm here because I'm passionate about how technology can solve real world communication challenges. And I believe my technical expertise, combined with my cross cultural experience, would be valuable to your international projects.
That's fantastic. I love how you highlighted your international experience. That makes you stand out and shows you understand global perspectives.
Thanks. That international angle took me a while to figure out how to present properly. Early in my career, I wasn't sure if it was an advantage or something to downplay.
Oh, that's interesting. But now you see it as a strength?
Absolutely. In today's global economy, cross cultural experience is gold. And that brings up a crucial point. Tailor your introduction to your audience. The same formal introduction won't work for every situation.
Exactly. If I were introducing myself to potential English students instead of finance employers, I'd emphasize my teaching experience and why I understand their learning challenges.
Smart approach. And here's something I learned from working with international teams. If English isn't your first language, practice your introduction until it flows naturally. Record yourself, time it, get comfortable with the rhythm.
Great advice, but don't memorize it word for word. Have a flexible framework so you can adapt in the moment. I learned this lesson during a client presentation when I completely blanked because I'd only practiced one version.
Oh no, what did you do?
I just smiled and said, let me approach that differently, and then improvised based on my framework. Turns out, being authentic and flexible was better than being perfectly scripted.
I love that. Authenticity always beats perfection. And speaking of cultural aspects, James, as a Texan working internationally and me working with global clients, we've both had to adapt our styles.
Absolutely. American business culture tends to encourage bold self promotion, but that doesn't work everywhere. Sophia, Malaysian culture is more modest, right?
Yes, in Malaysia, being overly boastful can actually backfire. We value humility. So, when working with international clients, I had to learn to confidently state my qualifications without feeling like I was bragging. It's all about finding the right tone.
That's such valuable insight. For our listeners, research the cultural context you're operating in. When in doubt, lean towards being genuine rather than overly promotional.
Exactly. Now, let's give our listeners some practical homework. This week, write out two versions of your introduction, one casual and one formal. Practice both out loud.
Perfect. Time them, record yourself if possible, and get feedback from friends or family. Ask them, did I sound natural? Was I engaging? What stood out?
And here's where we need your help. We want to create a community episode featuring real introduction stories from our listeners. Send us your successes, your awkward moments, your questions, everything.
Yes, email us or find us on social media. Learning from each other's real experiences is way more valuable than just theory. We're all in this together.
Absolutely. And remember, everyone has something interesting to share. Whether you're from a small Texas town like James or from hilly Sabah state of Borneo like me, your story matters.
Well said. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap. For casual introductions, be genuine, share relevant interests, keep it conversational, and always ask questions.
And for formal situations, follow the 3 Ws: who you are professionally, what you bring, and why you're there. Tailor to your audience, practice until it's natural, and stay flexible.
Perfect summary. Most importantly, remember that every conversation is practice. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
So true. Thanks for joining us today on the English Syndicate. I'm Sophia, your Malaysian engineering English coach.
And I'm James, your Texan finance guy turned English teacher. Keep practicing, keep connecting, and remember, every introduction is an opportunity to make a new friend or professional connection. Till next time, bye.
As always, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button to show your support so that we can come out with more interesting topics. Until next time, bye-bye.